Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about a concept I just learned while riding in my car to work and on a podcast talking about kind of the way that we view problems. So what's very interesting is they say that humans, for the most part, have the same number of problems, but as your life gets easier and easier and easier and more comfortable and more comfortable and more convenient, your view of a problem broadens so that things that used to not be a problem now is considered a problem. And to me, that was kind of like it hit me kind of hard because I think I'm kind of falling kind of victim to this a little bit myself. And it's just kind of funny, like, kind of side tangent, like when you see really rich people, and for me, I'm just basing this off the TV show Bridgerton, where it's just a bunch of royalty in England, and they're just like fussing over the most minute problems when everyone else that's kind of a commoner is living way below them. But you have these people who are considered rich and they're getting stressed by the most minute little things. So it kind of hits that concept of, okay, as my life gets easier, my life gets more convenient, I'll find something else to fixate on as a problem. And it's just kind of funny because I remember, this is like kind of early when me and my now wife, Christine, first moved in together. Like, Christine would always get mad at me because I didn't wash the dishes immediately. And for me, I always joked with her saying, oh, well, when I learn to wash the dishes immediately, you're going to just find another problem to kind of like pick at. And so, now that we moved into our new house, we have a washing machine. And at first I would say, hey, I'll do the dishes immediately, but let's do the washing machine. So then she would get frustrated with like, well, I don't trust that machine. And after a while, she trusted the machine. And then now she just moved on to something else. Like, oh, you don't like vacuum anymore, right? Like, you never vacuum the house. So I bought a Roomba, and then I programmed it to vacuum 3 times a week, because she said that, well, it doesn't vacuum as well as a human. So I said, well, if Roomba vacuums 3 times a week, it might equal how much one human does it. So now she doesn't complain about that. And now she moved on to, oh, the staircase is always dirty. You have to vacuum the staircase. So this kind of reiterates the point of, like, people have a problem, and then once that problem is solved, they're no longer there. Their sense of a problem will broaden to include something else that used to not be a problem. So it's just kind of like, it was kind of interesting knowing that, like, this is kind of like human nature. And I kind of like see this because, like, for me, I like recently, like, been at my current job for about like a little over a year now. And I used to have to drive like 70 miles each way to go to work. And, when I got a job that was closer, it's only like 12 miles away. But, because of traffic, I'm just sitting in traffic all day. It still takes me the same amount of time driving 70 miles. But when I was driving 70 miles, my tires wore out faster. I had to do so many oil changes. I had to spend so much on gas. My tires would pop. My car would have more issues because you're driving more. And then now I don't drive. I mean, time-wise, yes, but distance-wise, not really. Like, my tires aren't being worn out as much. I don't need as much gas or electricity to drive. My tires are lasting longer. I don't have to deal with oil changes anymore. But then, like, I'm still like finding inconveniences of, like, oh man, I hate just being in traffic, right? And I used to drive 70 miles. And then, like, even my pay, like, so my pay like significantly increased. And I just said, oh, if I make this amount of money in my W2 job, I'll be so much happier. And I remember when I first got my offer, I was like so shocked by the offer that I had lost the feeling in my knees for a little bit. I was like, oh my God, like, this is, way higher than I thought. And usually I have to like justify why I want a higher pay, because usually what they offer me is lower than what I thought. But this is the first time that they offered me more than I thought. So I was just like really shocked. And then, fast forward, and I remember I would always be like, man, if I had a job that paid me like this much, I would, that whatever my goal was, I would just do whatever, right? If they want me to take out the trash, mop the floors, I'll do all that. And then, when you start the actual job and they make you like throw out the trash and mop the floors, you're like, oh, I'm above this. I don't want to do this anymore. So it's just kind of interesting because, like, because I kind of like been at many different hospitals and jobs, I got to see a different perspective. But what I realized that at some hospitals, they've only been at one hospital, so all they know is this. And over time, obviously things got easier, things are more convenient for them, so they just are nitpicking over the smallest little minute things. And it's just kind of interesting thinking about that. And like, even I caught myself doing that too. I'm like, oh, I've been here for a year, got used to things. And then now I'm like, oh, it'd be nice if I could be remote. Oh, it'd be nice if I didn't have to do this. It'd be nice if I had to do this, because my perception of a problem is broadening. It used to just be like, hey, I want more pay and I don't want to drive 70 miles. And then I got more pay, I don't have to drive 70 miles. And now my problem broadened to, oh, like, this is a little bit inconvenient over here. Like, I wish that I could be remote 1 day a week. And then if I get remote 1 day a week, then I'm like, it'd be nice if I was remote 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And then when I'm remote 5 days a week, I'll just be like, oh, this person wrote this really annoying email. I didn't like the tone in their email. So like, your problems keep on broadening and broadening. And it's kind of like a first world problem syndrome that we have. So in a weird way, I'm trying to reframe my mindset to think, okay, if my problems are so minute and like broadening, like in a weird way, my quality of life is improving significantly, right? But you have to take that pause to self-reflect, and then you have to kind of like constantly remind yourself of like, wow, my life is improving. So like, I always try to like pause and like catch myself by saying like, you know what, Steven, like, you would have killed for your situation that you have right now a year ago or a year and a half ago. So like, be appreciative of it, right? So like, I try to remind myself this too. Like, if I have a problem with like a annoying tenant, or there has to be like a repair, or there has to be something that needs to be done, and for me, it was just like, wow, like I have to deal with this annoying tenant, and like, I have to fix this like washer and dryer. Like, my God, why do I have to do this? And then like, I look back, I'm like, well, this property has made me $800,000. Is it worth it for this like minor inconvenience of texting a handyman or having to order a new washer and dryer at Costco? Yeah, maybe it's worth it, right? So like, you just always have to take a pause and then like reflect. Or like, what I try to do a lot is like just really travel. Like, for me, I like to travel to regain my perspective. I typically travel to Southeast Asia, which is like a second or third world country, and it just really gives me perspective. Like, damn, like how good we have it. Like, we have it really good. So I always, because I know this is, now that I know it was an issue where my problems were brought in and brought, my perception of a problem will broaden and broaden and broaden, and I'll get frustrated over the more and more minute things as my life gets better. Then I need to take time to pause and reflect and just be like, wow, like, look where I came from, and really, I guess, be grateful for it, or have gratitude, as cliche as that sounds. So for me, it's always kind of having that reframe of like, okay, like, just be grateful for what you have, and reflect on where you came from, and just remember back like what you have done to get to this opportunity. So I know for me, I'm trying to catch myself, because I see myself going down that loop. And I remember, like, I used to have a car, a BMW, where I just had regular cruise control, and now I have like autopilot on my Tesla, and the car steers itself, and then it can adjust the speed. And then now I'm complaining like, oh my God, driving so hard. But I remember when I first got the autopilot, I was like, oh my God, life is so easy, because I came from a car that had like just regular cruise control, but then like it wouldn't adjust the speed automatically because it was an older car. Or I had my old Camry, which had no cruise control at all. So like, now I have autopilot, auto steer, where the freaking car will like drive by itself, it'll steer by itself within the same lane, but then like, you have to pay attention, look front of the road, or else it'll beep you. And I get annoyed by the beeping. And sometimes if you stare away for too long, it'll actually kick you off autopilot. I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, dude, I had literally no cruise control at one point, like not too long ago, like 3 years ago. And then now I'm complaining about a car that drives itself, right? And then I have a car that has like actually has Bluetooth attached to the car. Before, I had to like plug in this like extra device to set up my phone, and sometimes it's hard to hear. And I used to have to like plug in an aux cord to my phone to listen to like the radio. Now it just populates on my Tesla. So it's quite interesting how like as we lifestyle inflate, as our life gets better, as our life gets more convenient, we just get more annoyed by it. Like, it's just like, people are like, oh my God, my my Uber delivery driver messed up my food. But big picture, we have people that deliver food to your house for not that much money, and it's really easy to do, right? And like Amazon, oh my god, they lost my package. Amazon, I'm like, I can get literally anything shipped to my house within 2 days for free. So like it's kind of interesting that like it's good that obviously society needs to improve, but you also have to like kind of pause and reflect, like, wow, like look where this came from, and be appreciative of what it has, and you only kind of appreciate it by kind of being removed from it a little bit. So that's why I really like to at least try to do more where like I'm just more like camping, like more in nature, and like just sleeping on the hard floor, and no AC or no fan. So just kind of like purposely creating little inconveniences in your life so that you can kind of appreciate what you have. So anyways, just kind of want to share my thoughts on what I learned, and hopefully you found value out of this. If you want to buy a multifamily real estate with some coaching, some guidance, some mentorship, click on my link down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.